What up, good people? It's another episode of Front of Mind the Bow. Impromptu episode. I'm not in my normal setting. I'm upstairs in my living room recording. Um, I'm sitting there watching. I had to stop and do this while I was on my mind. So I'm sitting here watching the Last Dance, the documentary of the 1990s Bulls team. Well, the Bulls team in that whole dominant era when they started taking control of the NBA and pretty much being what people consider to be the best team ever. But I'm watching. I think I'm on episode 5, and this is the episode. If you're watching it or if you watched it, this is the one where they're in the part where they're talking about Michael Jordan. That last season. Tickets were so hard to come by, not just for home games but even road games, and how they had to you know dole out tickets based on the players' needs, and then fans wanted, and when they went on the road, it was another whole thing of trying to get other venues to spot on enough tickets for their players. But they're at a point now where they had a shot where they just did something where they were showing like all these celebrities who were coming out watching Michael Jordan, and Michael Jordan's my favorite player of all time, bar none. I mean, I'll never not claim Michael Jordan's my favorite player. Is my favorite player of all. Like, I stopped watching the NBA really when Michael Jordan retired. I really haven't been in the NBA like that. I watched the finals, but as far as playoff games, I watched the playoffs some. But when Michael Jordan was in, I was like all in. That was my favorite player. But nonetheless, they had the point in the show where they're showing all these celebrities who would come to games, like Chris Rock, Dr. Dre, Bill Murray, Drew Barrymore, Muhammad Ali, Jack Nicholson. Anybody who was a who's who of Hollywood at that point was coming out to see that dude. And they had one clip where they had Jerry Seinfeld on, and Jerry Seinfeld was talking about it makes sense. The team of the '90s. I represent the number one show of the '90s. He's saying the Bulls are the number one team in the '90s. His show is the number one show of the '90s. Pause. This is where I had to pause the show and really think rationally about what I just heard. I was like, what? Jerry Seinfeld said that Seinfeld was the number one show in the '90s. Now, this may be the most biased opinion I can share about entertainment or television. First of all, I didn't watch Seinfeld. That junk used to come on TV a lot. It was even in syndication a lot. I never watched that mess. I've never seen an episode of Seinfeld. I've passed by it and stopped for a minute just because people be talking about it so much. Now, it's not a racial thing. It's nothing about the show that interests me. I tried to watch an episode. It was just stupid to me. It's just me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying if you are of a different ethnicity and you watch it, you're stupid. I just couldn't get into it. I was like, because I even had black people say, man, Seinfeld, funny, you should watch it. I was like, I tried, couldn't do it. Call me segmented mind, but it just wasn't something I wanted to do. Nevertheless, Jerry Seinfeld said that Seinfeld was the show of the '90s. So me being the investigative reporter that I am, I had to stop and pull out my MacBook and start Googling top TV shows of the 1990s because I really wanted to see what the rundown was. People, it is some ignorant stuff on this list. I can't even give you the whole list. I can just tell you that it was beyond unbelievable. Some of these shows that jumped in front of the shows in the top 50. First of all, Martin was 34. Martin, 34. It's the top 50. Martin is at 34th place. Do you know what was just in front of Martin? What was just in front of Martin? Sorry about that. It's Mom Duke's calling me. I'll call her back in a second. In front of Martin I'm just gonna jump. I just jotted something down. So in front of Martin at 32, you had Rugrats. Rugrats. If y'all don't remember, this was a show. It was a cartoon about. I don't even know how to explain it. I know people who used to have kids that watched it, but it's a cartoon pretty much. I don't know how else to explain it or make you understand what it is. But Rugrats beat out Martin by 2 spots. In front of Rugrats was the dinosaur show. Now I remember this crap because I believe it used to come on after a show I watched. I don't remember what show it was, but I do remember it was a show about dinosaurs. Like It was like that not claymation. It was basically dinosaurs like they living their life. It was stupid, but like this, it was stupid. I don't even know how many seasons that junk lasted, but that was the 31st ranked show of the 1990s. Quantum Leap was 21. I like science fiction like everybody else. I love science fiction. I probably like it more than most people. But Quantum Leap was 21. Now this is one I think got gypped a little bit because I love this show. This is one I think really got gypped. Like Martin. I mean, like most black people, I love Martin. Some black people don't like Martin, believe it or not. Some people that's just really, and they too serious, knife stereotype, whatever. I love Martin. But this is a show I think that got gypped. It was too far down the list because that show was like great. Married with Children. Married with Children was 20. 20 out of 50 for the 90s. If you ain't ever watched Married with Children, I suggest you watch it. That junk is hilarious. In Living Color, people. Now this one, I kind of feel like it's a little bit low, but I'm glad it got as high as it did. It still feels like it should be higher. Living Color was 13 out of 50. That ain't bad. Especially when you think about, In Living Color used to piss everybody off. Oh my God. Like, that's why they call them the bad boys of comedy. They used to poke fun at everybody. Like, they ain't care. The sketches they used to do, I mean, this new generation, if y'all ain't never seen Living Color, if y'all watching this, go to YouTube. I know y'all love YouTube. Go to YouTube and just pull up In Living Color and look at some of them clips. That is where you really got that undeniable raunchy comedy from. And I'm talking about, this is network TV. This ain't HBO and Showtime and all these cable channels. No, this is like, you got free TV kind of TV, and they was pushing the envelope hard. I feel like Living Color could have been a couple spots higher than that, but I ain't gonna trip on that. That 13, I can respect that. Now, this is one I was just like, I ain't gonna lie, I used to watch the show, I like the show. I don't see how it got this high. Now, I'm gonna tell you why I don't see how it got this high. Saved by the Bell. So Saved by the Bell, everybody who probably knows about the show, who grew up in the 90s, pretty much about high school kids in Bayside, California, going to high school. Well, it's junior high going into high school, I guess, how they portrayed it. They even had a college year season, which was the worst idea ever. But let me explain something about a show like Saved by the Bell. Saved by the Bell was... It kind of was one of them shows where you didn't really understand how they could make the show be that long. Because these damn kids was in high school about 9 years. I promise you, Saved by the Bell feel like it was on for 9 years. They went from 8th grade to graduating. It took 8th grade to seniors. It took about 9 years for them to graduate high school. That's why I don't like shows like that. But I understand why it was so popular, because it was a teenage show. It was one of them shows that a lot of people at that age, like I was, when that kind of show was out, we watched a lot of TV. And that it was a high school, it was a show about kids in school, which is really relatable because they would do a lot of stuff about drugs, sex, peer pressure, things that you do in school, just so it appealed to, all kind of kids. It wasn't a show of, just certain race. Like, I love Saved by the Bell. I just don't think it should be 9 out of 50. Now, one show that didn't make the list, and I just noticed this, which kind of bugs me out, Family Matters is not on this list. Family Matters ran for 11 seasons. 11 seasons. A black sitcom on ABC. They even went to CBS. I bet y'all didn't know this. If you wasn't a Family Matters head, I didn't even know this till they started running these marathons now, or I started reading the little, or watching the little thing about the story of the show. They actually went to CBS for, I think, a season or two before coming back to ABC. But Family Matters is nowhere on this list as top 90s TV shows, which Family Matters owned Friday nights. Let's keep it real. TGIF was built around Family Matters. That's why it was the first show on TGIF. And then you had all the shows. If you notice, all the other shows behind it would always either switch spots or they would just take a show off and put a new show on. Family Matters always lit off 8 o'clock on Friday nights for years. You know how hard it is to get a Friday? I mean, this is like back when TV on Friday nights was a primetime slot. And Family Matters stayed there for at least 9 to 10 of them 11 years. Maybe all 11. I don't know. But it didn't make this list of 50. I love Family Matters. I watch that mess. It's on Raw TV right now. But that was a jip. Now, this is where we get into the problem I have with this top 10 or whatever you want to call it. So, Mr. Jerry Seinfeld, and the list I'm reading, people, is actually from TVGuide.com. So it's from a reputable source. Now, reputable, I say establishment type stuff. Who knows how they putting this in? But this ain't no just ho-hum website somebody developed their own top 10. This is from TVGuide.com. So they go on obviously by probably like ratings, all that stuff. How viewers received everything. But Seinfeld, Mr. Jerry Seinfeld, your show was number 3 in 1990s. Number 3, not number 1. It was a number 3 rated show. Ain't nothing to be bad about. If you number 3 out of 50 for a decade, you have nothing to be mad about. I just want to correct you, Mr. Jerry Seinfeld. Your show was number 3 out of 50, not number 1. Number 2 was some stupid show, something I ain't watched that I disagree with as well. And number 1, this is all, and I kind of figured this might be the number 1 show. I was like, either Seinfeld is true number 1, or this show was number 1. Friends, people. Now, just like Seinfeld, never watched Friends. Never tried to watch it. Never was interested in watching it. Because Friends just seems like a bit far-fetched to me. And I'm going to explain why. If I'm not mistaken, I don't know all the dynamics of the show, but if I'm not mistaken, I think I'm certain when I say the show is based out of New York, meaning it's a New York-based backdrop. That's where they're supposed to be living. And it's 6 friends. I think it's 3 guys, 3 girls, whatever, something like that. Some of them in relationships, some of them not. I don't know. Like I said, I ain't never watched the show. But I know when that junk went off, some people lost their damn mind. Like they didn't know how their life was going to go on. Nevertheless, I never got Friends, just like I never got Seinfeld. One of the big reasons I ain't get Friends is out of all the cast members, and y'all know where I'm finna go with this probably, it wasn't no black friends. You living in one of the most ethnically diverse cities in this country, or the world for that instance, and you ain't got a Native American, you don't have no Hispanic, you don't got no brothers, no sisters. You trying to tell me y'all ain't got no ethnic friends? That's why the show just really never. If you would have threw one of us up in there, somebody of color, it might have done better than it did. But how you gonna be in a place like New York and ain't no black or ethnic friend on the show? All the people of color in New York, and y'all, and between the 6 of y'all, don't nobody have nobody of color they hang out with. I just find that hard to believe. If this was shot like in Texas or down south where I am or something like that, I get it. But in New York? Listen, I don't know how or why this show was ranked number 1 in the 90s. Like I said, I have never seen it. I don't know how it grabbed or gravitated the audience. Maybe it was the magical land of make-believe type show where it was like, hey, it's just us and nobody around with us and we have ourselves and we don't have another world to listen to or deal with. I don't know. But that's the number 1 show of the 90s. At least on the other shows, they had diverse cast members. Like Fresh Prince of, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air actually was in the top 10, I believe. I think Fresh Prince of Bel-Air might have been 8 or 7. Even on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, they had different cast members of different ethnicities. They had Caucasian, they had, Native American, they had Hispanic. They at least brought different people in. Same thing with Saved by the Bell, In Living Color, these other shows that kind of got high up on the list. But in Seinfeld, I believe Seinfeld is based in New York too. So the top 2 of the top 3 shows of the 90s didn't have no black people on them or no people of color. In New York. Now, mind you, that is what I want you to understand. They are in freaking New York. I have been in New York one time in my life. It's way too much going on. Let me explain something. I went to New York. I was excited. I wanted to see if it was really like that. It's really like that. Like how they kind of give you that energy on TV, that the people, they ain't nothing to play with. You do not speak to people on the street. You don't be smiling. Look, it ain't the South. It ain't like no other place you've ever been to. It's not bad, but you just got to be ready for it. But it's too many people of color in New York for all y'all people to not have no people of color that y'all associate with. That's all I'm saying. And 2 of the top 3 shows happen to be in New York, and ain't no people of color on the show as a cast member or even a reoccurring person. I take a reoccurring person. But I thought I just had to stop and record that. That just had my head hurt a little bit when I heard Jerry Seinfeld say that. I was like, I know people used to talk about that show a lot, and it was pretty popular, and it might have finished really high. I said I don't know if I believe it was number one. I knew it was probably close to it, but then I was like, wait a minute, that show Friends. I remember when they canceled it, or they took it off, or they ended the series. Man, people was depressed. I thought people was gonna start hitting the oxycodone or the Prozac because it was people sad. Like it was people like they had really suffered a loss, like a real life loss on that show. Friends is going off. Oh my god, I can't believe it. I'm like, it's a TV show. Like, are they killing them off? Everybody died of plane crash or something? No, it's just ending. Like, okay, so at some point, TV shows have to end, except for soap operas. Them modes go on. I don't know how the hell they do soap operas. It's been soap operas running since before I was born. How the hell? Let me ask you people. How the hell do you run a soap opera? I'm going on 43. How do these soap operas run continuously that many years? Like, do you just phase new cast members in and you kill others off, or they die off, or they move to other countries and they get played? How you phase in people in and out for 40-something years? That's some hellified writing and creativity right there. Most series now, they just basically get canceled or they come to an end. But soap operas, grant them writers, or it's either some really interesting people watching because they stay on for decades upon decades apparently. But nevertheless, I had to clear up Mr. Jerry Seinfeld saying number one show of the 90s. No, bro, use number 3. Friends, according to TV Guide, was number 1. I think number 2. Number 2. Number two. Can I even see this right now? I just have to see what it was because it was an interesting little list. Friends was 1. Oh my God. Okay, so number 2. Jesus. Twin Peaks. Now, I kind of remember Twin Peaks. I don't remember it being that popular of a show. Especially to beat out Seinfeld. Like, again, I didn't watch Seinfeld, but I know enough people did watch that mess. So I don't know how Twin Peaks beat them out, but this is what the data said. So I'm just saying, Martin definitely got gypped. 34 out of 50, way too low. Maybe it's because it was only on 6 seasons. I don't know, but it was a quality. You gotta understand, when a show is on for 6 seasons, it don't have to be, it ain't necessarily the length of the time the show is on. It's the quality of the season. Martin was, hysterical. Prime time show. Married with Children got gypped. Married with Children should have easily been at least 5 spots higher in the top 15. 20 is way too low for Married with Children. In Living Color, like I said, 13, it ain't bad. In my opinion, it's some shows that were in front of it that it could have leapfrogged. I mean, that's just, I'm just giving you real facts of what I feel. I don't think that, actually, I lied. First Prince of Bel-Air was 5, actually. X-Files was 6. X-Files, that's one of them shows, like, again, science fiction, love science fiction, but X-Files was kind of before its time. Like, I really didn't. Freaks and Geeks, they got a show called Freaks and Geeks that was number 7. Wonder Years, number 8. I ain't got no problem with that. Wonder Years was my show. I had a crush on Winnie Cooper. Could get it, y'all. Winnie Cooper could get it. Now, Winnie Cooper look real different now. She didn't got thick, or borderline fat, but she looked real good now. But see, when she got big, she don't look sexy no more. She got like that little doughy face now. Buffy the Vampire Slayer was 12, right in front of Living Color. So you got 13 was a Living Color, 12 was Buffy the Vampire Slayer, 11 was Boy Meets World. Boy Meets World, that's so weird one to me because I love that show. Simpsons was 10, but Boy Meets World 11 beating out. I don't know about that. Saved by the Bell was 9. So you got some stuff in here that I can agree with, but you also got some stuff in there. I'm like Quantum Leap at 21. Fresh Prince at 5. I think that's why I said it 4 or 5. I can get with that. I can get with that. It's a shame that the Cosby Show ended so early in the 90s because I would have loved to have seen the Cosby Show in its prime against all these shows. Gotta realize Cosby Show was a heavy 80s based sitcom, so the bulk of its seasons, I think Cosby Show is 8 seasons long. It was basically, it ended in 90, 92, 93, I believe. So it only had about 2 or 3 years in the 90s decade to be relevant, so they didn't put it on this list. And I was looking at the list like, yo, where the Cosby Show at? I was like, oh, this is a 90s list. They're going by shows that were dominant in the majority part of the 90s, not the 80s. Cosby Show, I guarantee if I look at the 80s, which I might do, it's probably going to, Cosby Show should be probably number one. I can't think of a show in the 80s that would beat the Cosby Show out. And I'm just being honest. But, you know, some of these ranks kind of feel like some of these companies shows got Married with Children. If you ain't watched Married with Children, 20? That's kind of an insult, man. You got that behind Freaks and Geeks and Dawson's Creek and Felicity. I mean, shows that didn't really even do Married with Children did a lot of seasons, which means people were watching. Obviously, one thing about TV, if you don't pull audience and get ratings, they will cut your show. So I'm thinking Dawson's Creek, Felicity. I know they were like these little hot teeny bopper shows, but they didn't go as long as Married with Children, if I'm not mistaken. Now, maybe they just had a kind of different way to look at that demographic, but Married with Children should definitely be higher than that. But again, people, this is just me sharing my thoughts and opinions about stuff like this. I kind of am okay with some of these rankings. Some of them I'm totally like blown away with. But again, you know, ratings, you know, how public response to it, you know, popularity of shows, that's what they go into. So this has been another episode of From the Mind to Bo. Thank you for checking it out. Please continue to follow, share, comment, like, all that good stuff. I'm trying to build this following up to get this nation on the rise. Y'all have a good one. Be safe. Stay away from that corona. Be good.